I'm Jay Weidner.
And I'm Sharron Rose.
She is the lovely Sharron Rose. And you're listening to the exciting Smoke and Mirrors Radio Hour. We're on every Monday through Friday. Tell your friends. We're up on the Galaxy satellite. We're everywhere and growing daily. Radio for the intelligent. What a unique and remarkable idea. Anyway, we're talking about male initiation, or at least Sharron wanted to come on tonight and talk about initiation, especially male initiation, because the problem, well, we think the problem is lack of initiation causing male exuberance to wreck the countryside, you could say. You got anything to say, Sharron?
Well, I'm also very interested in female initiation, of course.
Yeah.
And I feel that that is very much lacking in today's society as well. And that if the females, who are the natural teachers, cannot experience this initiatory phenomenon, then how can anything be put right? And I think that part of the big problem, as we said before, has to do with this cult of youth and the lack of respect for elders in our society and the lack of respect for tradition and history itself. I have heard during the campaigns, the media was talking about how we shouldn't even think about history anymore. We just look towards the future. Well, if you don't look at history, how do you learn?
Yep.
Robert Lawler, I was speaking with him last week, and he was talking about how in Australia now there are a group of doctors who are really working towards getting children, once they go to puberty, off of all their meds, because they feel that if they do not get them off, that they will never be able to experience reality and experience life in a way that is, in alignment and with great purpose. And so...
Well, I'm with you there, and I really am. I don't know what to say about that, and it just really worries me when I see these kids and the amount of pharmaceuticals that they're taking, and I don't know. It's discouraging. And we have a caller, I think. Let me see here. Yeah, Greg in Washington. Is Greg there?
Yeah, Jay, I really appreciate your spiritual presentation, both you and Sharron's tonight. But I look at things more on kind of a physiological and anthropological level. And what I've noticed is happening is we are becoming, or we're transitioning from a hunter-gatherer society, as we were originally, well adapted to a agricultural society. And when you do that, you overstimulate the sympathetic activity of the autonomic nervous system. And the main component of that are the adrenals. And when you start to exhaust those adrenals by your constant input of carbohydrates, you need to go to greater and greater lengths to get that stimulation. And I think both the male and the female are going to those lengths because they are so adrenally exhausted. And, if you put it in your spiritual framework, you point out the ritual aspect of things, and that's pertinent, and probably would help deal with that. But what I really think is significant is the fact that since we're agricultural now, and we've gone off track from what our bodies really demand as physiological entities, we are way out of our safety levels as far as treating the body in an abusive way. And I think that also deals with your issue about taking the drugs. I think the drugs try to mediate the fact that we've really put out to kilter the hormonal and physiological systems in our body, and that's all because of the foods that we're calling, or let me change that, the materials we're calling foods that really aren't foods for our system.
I'm in complete agreement. I think the grain diet is just really a mistake, and the more I research it, the more I come to realize what a real mistake it was. And
your advertisers pointed out, Truott tells us that minerals are the key to the whole thing, and gluten in the grains, unless they're rice or corn, which don't have the gluten component, essentially totally disrupt that mineral input. And so we're doing everything we can nutritionally to really disrupt our physiology. It's totally depressing.
Oh, I agree, and that is the cause of a lot of the problems. I've actually seen people's character and attitude change when they switched off the grain diets, and it's quite amazing when you look at the obesity rates that are going on right now, and little kids, 9 years old boys are fat and pudgy. I mean, I'm sorry, but it's not normal. It just isn't.
Yeah, the other time I called in was on alchemistry, and it seems to me that maybe possibly, I was calling you to check on that the pursuit of the monatomic elements was possibly a way to counteract this decrease of mineral element in our system and actually make some constructive improvements. So I'll just throw that out as a question and have you respond.
Well, you could be right. I think we got to be careful with all of that because I think it is useful, but I just think we got to be careful because I've seen crazy people taking way too much of that stuff and causing all sorts of contamination in their system. And,
I believe that's true in the present, but I was wondering in the past, is that possibly what the alchemist was really trying to accomplish, was a balance?
Oh, he was. There was, in fact, it was called, I'm forgetting the name now, it was a cake that they made. An alchemist made it, and you remember what it is, Sharron? What's that cake called? You carried it with you. Everybody did in those days, and the lore said that you carried and ate this cake because there were no doctors. And this cake was monoatomic gold that had been crusted down and pressed into sort of like a very large communion, the Catholic Church thing. And it looked very much like it. And you would break a piece off every day we'd eat a little bit. This is where Tolkien got his
elven bread.
Elven bread, yes. This is Tolkien was let into the medieval literature chamber at Oxford, and he was one of the few people that could actually read all this literature that had been there, and he picked up all this stuff. But it's also mentioned in Mystery of the Cathedrals by Fulcanelli, this bread, and a lot of ancient things, and it's a well-known thing back until about 1300, and then it disappeared. So the church outlawed it, actually. Anyway, we're going to be back. If you want to hang on, Greg, that's fine. We're going to be back. We're going to take a break. I'm here, Jay Weidner, with the lovely
Sharron Rose.
And we'll be right back. Smoke and Mirrors Radio Hour. Thanks for listening.